have a Mexican Spanish with Anna. We are so excited. It will be the first time, as far as I know. And as far as we know, she lives in Mexico. And stage is yours.
Cool, thank you. You wanted to say something else, no?
I just wanted to add that Anna is my personal friend, and I'm very, very excited because I hope she will also share her personal story at the end. Not to take away from Nilay, who's our host today, but I really can't stay quiet when a friend joins and also is presenting. She is also an amazing storyteller, and I know that everything she shares, you feel really excited about those things. I'm very happy to hear about her new home, about Mexico, where she lives with her husband. And I will prompt you to talk about your personal projects at the end.
Cool.
So, thank you.
I actually
yours, Anya.
Cool. I actually built the program to leave time for questions in the end. And if you want, in the end, you can ask me any type of questions. Doesn't matter if it's about Mexico or about myself. I will tell you about myself a bit anyway, because there are things that no one knows about me, and I want to share them with you. So first of all, I was born in Karaganda. And then when I was 22 years old, I went to study in Spain. I did my master's in Spain, and I did it in Spanish. That's how I learned Spanish. Then I came back to Kazakhstan, and I moved to Almaty in 2012. And I started working at the British Council. I was working there for 6 years. And my whole life was in English. I was working in English, speaking in English at work. And now for the last year, since I moved to Mexico, I haven't been using any English. So that's really exciting for me to be able to speak English to someone. So I think this will be as useful for me as for you. I love traveling. Before coming to live to Mexico, I have already traveled to Latin America, so I basically knew where I'm coming to. I still had some surprises, but definitely not as much as people who haven't been to this part of the world. As I said, I love traveling. I have been to 46 countries, and I'm not planning to stop. as soon as the COVID situation is over, we will start traveling again. For now, we're only discovering Mexico, not flying out of the country. And I'm here thanks to Aliya. She's my special friend, and something she hasn't mentioned, but we even share a birthday. we have the same birthday, and that's amazing because you were actually the first person I've met with whom I share a birthday, and that's amazing. So before I start talking about Mexico, I want all of you to introduce yourself. And when you introduce yourself, please mention if you speak Spanish or if you don't speak Spanish, because that way I will understand how we form our class, our meeting today. So tell a bit about yourself and mention your Spanish skills.
What do you want to start with?
So maybe we can help you then. Nilay can pick people because she'll be your force.
Okay. Z, are you ready to introduce yourself in Spanish or in English, whatever you wish?
As always, as per tradition, we start with Zika.
Hola, yo soy Zika. Vivo en Suiza. Oh, ay.
Correcto, Suiza. Ajá.
Suiza, yo hablo español un poco.
Sí, un
poquito. That's it.
Mucho gusto, encantada.
Okay. Ganishka.
Oh.
Is it correct or not? Sorry for that.
Yeah. Correct. So I'm Ranishka. My name is Rani. I'm a student, and I don't speak Spanish.
Cool.
Yet.
You will actually go home after the meeting today with some words, so you will speak some Spanish.
Yeah, sure.
Oh, cool.
Thank you.
We are
Who's
waiting.
next?
Ermek? Ermek, are you there? Okay, then Aybarito.
Hola a todos, soy Aybar, trabajo aquí en Atrao como desarrollador de datos en TCO. Soy recién llegado a este grupo, es un placer conocerlos.
Hola, mucho gusto, wow. Pero no eres mexicano.
Gracias.
Por tu acento.
Tengo conocimiento con español mexicano y por eso estoy interesado en esta sesión. Gracias.
Genial, mucho gusto.
También.
Sounds very cool. Okay, and Aygerim Kusayinova.
Hola a todos, me llamo Aygerim, vivo en Karagandá, en Kazajistán. Como Ana, también es de Karagandá y también estudié en España, pero estudié español a mí misma aquí en Kazajistán porque hablo francés y español son similares un poco, entonces era muy fácil para mí estudiar español. Y hice como 6 meses curso en hostelería en España, en el sur de España, en Andalucía. Y me encanta español y estoy aquí para aprender un poco de español mexicano.
¡Wow! ¡Qué bien! ¡Mucho gusto!
Oh, great. And Alexei.
Hello, everyone. Hola, amigos. My name is Alexei. I've been several times in Karaganda. It's a good city, but I don't know anything about Spanish language, only several phrases like por supuesto, vámonos, and something like that. But it's very interesting to me. I want to know something more, and I hope you will help us. Anna.
Cool. I will. Nice to meet you.
Thank you.
Arusan Peken. Can you hear us? Yes.
Yeah, I'm here. Hello, everyone. My name is Arujan, and I don't speak Spanish, and I think yet, and I hope that I'll learn some maybe basic phrases today. Thank you.
Nice to meet you, Arujan.
And Dana Isayeva.
Hola, yo me llamo Dana and yo estudio en Almaty, en Kazakh National Universidad, and yo soy estudiante. So,
cool.
Thank you.
Mucho gusto, encantada.
Laura.
Yeah, hi everyone. My name is Dauren, and I don't speak any Spanish. I know, like Alexei, maybe some phrases in Spanish. So that's all of my knowledge of that language. And I'm looking forward to learn something new. Yeah, thank you.
Cool. Welcome. Nice to meet you.
Dinara.
Hi everyone, buenos amigos. Hi Anya. Oh, I'm happy to see you here. I wanted to say that Anya is so wonderful and amazing person, you know. She's so She's brilliant, actually. So I'm really happy to see you here. I don't speak Spanish, but it's my next goal to study Spanish. So I think I'm on my way.
And we know how good you are in reaching your goals. So I'm sure you will speak Spanish soon.
Muchas gracias.
Gracias.
And next one, Mariat.
Hola a todos, mucho gusto, Ana. Me llamo Miruet. No hablo español. No quiero hablar español porque hablo italiano. Las palabras, las frases que puedo entender.
Oh, mucho gusto.
Gracias.
Zarina, are you here?
Sí, hola a todos. Me llamo Zarina. Yo vivo en Inglaterra, en Liverpool, exacto. Yo hablo español un poquito. Yo trabajo como la dependiente. I forgot. Yo trabajo en la tienda de ropa.
Ajá. Estás en venta, ¿verdad? Ajá,
Sí,
perfecto.
sí. Sí, yo tengo una hija y mi esposo estudia aquí en Inglaterra.
Mucho gusto.
Mucho gusto.
Great. Chanel.
Yes. Hi everyone. Hola a todos. Hablo español un poco porque estudié en España, en Las Palmas, por 5 meses y en una ciudad, Las Palmas de Gran Canaria, si sabes. Mucho gusto, Ana, y muchas gracias para esta oportunidad para practicarlo.
Qué suerte estudiar en Canarias. Mucho gusto.
Sí, gracias. Un Erasmus, sí.
Sí, mucho gusto.
Mucho gusto, gracias.
Aygirim, do you want to add something?
Hi everyone, my name is Aygirim. I'm very glad to see and to hear so many people are speaking Spanish and that everyone is interested in Spanish. I know myself quite basic of it, like basic phrases and some basic words as well. Yeah, glad to see everyone.
Nice to meet you.
And Eduard?
Hey, hola everyone.
Hola.
Me llamo Eduard. Apart from these phrases, I don't know any Spanish, so I'm just always looking forward to the lesson and happy to see everyone.
Hey, nice meeting you.
And Adia, your turn.
Yes, come on.
Well, I should have taken this opportunity to say something about Ana, but I look forward to learning the differences between Mexican Spanish and Spanish and Latin American, I suppose. But I know that Ana will do a great job of inspiring us to discover Mexico. I speak no Spanish, but that's my next language to learn as well. So I have double pleasure here.
Well, if you say that, I'm sure soon we'll be speaking Spanish to each other. I know you too well. On our birthday.
Then If you are ready, let's get started.
Milan, what about you? What about yourself?
Oh.
Yes, tell us, Milan.
Oh, unfortunately, I speak Spanish these days. I'm in Korean. Yeah, I'm from Turkey. I'm from Turkey, Istanbul. And yeah, looking forward to meeting you. Mexican Spanish.
Cool. Nice meeting you. Cool. Thanks,
Nice
everyone.
to meet you.
I see that like 60% of the group already speaks some Spanish. So I will, when I learn different languages, for me it's boring to go into those basic phrases because you can Google it, you can learn it anywhere. So I will try to go to usual things, to useful things, but not so usual. So hopefully you will learn something new. I will turn off everyone's sound. Just a second. Cool. This way we'll not have any interruptions. So first of all, when we were introducing ourselves, I used the word mucho gusto a lot of times, and that's your first word you will learn today. It's actually good because it's universal. You can use it if you're a girl and if you're a boy, because there are other words that change depending on your sex. So mucho gusto is your first word for today, and it means, literally, it means a lot of pleasure. Like, it's nice meeting you. So when you meet someone who speaks Spanish, you can tell him mucho gusto, and that will be your first word for today. Then I will try, that's impossible to cover the topic in just 1 hour, but I will try to show you some differences between Spanish in Latin America and Spanish in Spain. That's why the first word I want to use today, it's actually the word gracias. Because if when I studied in Spain, when I spoke Spanish, I would always say gracias using my tongue when I say th. And that's how you pronounce it being in Spain. But when you're in Latin America, you change all your Spanish accent to your Latin American accent, because otherwise people will laugh at you. That's even though Spain is like the mother basically of Latin America, there is not a lot of love for Spain in Latin America. So if you speak with Spanish accent, that's no good. So if you ever come to Mexico, just take all your th from when you speak and take out some words, because that would not be seen good. Of course, they will understand you're a foreigner and that one wouldn't be a problem, but still they will laugh at you. So let's say gracias all together using normal se, because that's how they say it in Mexico. So you don't have to turn on your microphones, just say it and make sure you pronounce it the Mexican way today. So it's gracias. And of course, that's impossible to tell you everything about Mexico in just 1 hour. So I have chosen 5 facts about Mexico. Some of them are true, some of them are false. Those facts are not the basic facts you will find in Wikipedia online. I wanted to make it interesting for you and to give you my own perception of this wonderful country. So I will start by telling you one fact, and then you will vote in the chat saying if you think that's true or if that's false. And then I will tell you what the story is in real life. First of all, before we start, I want to pronounce the right name of the country, even though in English we say it is Mexico. In Spanish, it's Mexico. That's really important. When you meet a person who is Mexican, you call him Mexicano. So you don't pronounce this X as X, you pronounce it as G. I think for us, that's like for Russian speakers, it's really okay it's not difficult to pronounce that. So the real name of the country is Mexico, and to be more exact, the real name of the country is Estados Unidos Mexicanos, which means United States of Mexico, which was a big surprise for me because I thought that's just Mexico. And then I realized it's actually United States of Mexico, which is exactly as the neighbor in the north. So that was an interesting fact for me. And we will start from the first fact. You don't really know if it's true or if it's false, but you will try to guess. You can see a big cactus on the photo. And the first fact about Mexico that I'm trying to tell you is that people actually eat cactuses in Mexico. So if you believe that people do eat cactuses, write true. And if you don't believe that they do eat cactuses, write false in the chat. I can see that it's like 80% of you tell it's true, and then 20% say it false. So those of you who said that's true are actually correct because it's true. In Mexico, people do eat cactuses. Of course, not the one on the picture. That's not a cactus to eat. When you live in Mexico for at least a year, you know which cactus you can eat and which you don't. Let me show you some photos. So when you come to Mexico, you will not eat the wrong cactus. When you go to a supermarket, that was something that surprised me when I went to the supermarket for the first time. They actually sell cactuses. Those cactuses are called nopal, and they of course take all the everything that can hurt you from this cactus. So it's absolutely safe. You bring it home, you wash it, you cut it, and then you fry it or cook it as a normal vegetable. It's hard to say because it's not similar. The taste is not similar to anything else, but more or less it's like zucchini, like more or less. It's not exactly zucchini, but that's the closest vegetable that tastes like cactus. And you add it to many things, to many dishes. You can add it to your breakfast. You can add it to your I don't know, to your tacos, to your tortillas, like anything. You basically add cactus to many things in Mexican cuisine. So that's the first fact for you. And also something that's interesting is that in Mexico you also eat the fruits of cactus, and that's a dessert. Those of you who have traveled to say Egypt, Israel, have probably tried cactus already. But in Mexico, this fruit is much bigger because the cactuses are much bigger than in the Middle East. So there are those fruits that are grown on top of the cactus, and really carefully with gloves. People, well, I would not say you because you don't do it, you don't have an access to those fields of cactus, but people with special gloves, with special equipment, take those fruits away from the cactus, and then they sell it. And that's one of my favorite fruits here in Mexico. It's really fresh, it's really sweet, it's amazing. So put it in your wish list. And there are two new words related to cactus I would like you to learn today. So this word for this fruit is tuna. Basically, it's similar to how you call a fish in English, tuna. That's how you call a fruit in Spanish in Mexico. So this, what you see on the photo is tuna. And what I've shown you before is nopal. So when you come shopping to Mexico and you want to buy cactus, now you know what to search for. Next question, or next fact I have for you, and I don't know if it's true or false. You need to understand. You need to figure it out. But the fact is that in Mexico there are a lot of people who don't know how to write or how to read. If you think that it's true and there are people who don't know how to read, say it's true. If you think that's false, say it's false in the chat. I see it's like 50-50. Cool. So actually, that's true. Unfortunately, that's true. And it's even hard to say what's the percentage of people in the whole country. It's impossible. But in Mexico City, the capital, that's actually where I live right now. I haven't mentioned this, but I live in Mexico City. So in Mexico City, there are 2 to 3 million people who don't know how to read. And I'm not talking about kids. I'm talking about adults who don't know how to write or how to read. That's why when they started building metro in Mexico, they had to use pictogrammas on every station. And like when you enter metro, you can see the name of the station, but you would also see a photo, a picture that's that represents the station, so that people who don't know how to read or how to write will know where to go out of the train. And I was surprised, but that's true. And there is a funny story. Well, it's funny and it's a bit sad, but I will tell it to you as a funny story. In fact, that's not so funny. When they at one point they tried to redesign those pictogrammas in the metro to make them like more modern, because the design hasn't been changed from the previous century, and they have decided to change it a bit. So when they changed it, a lot of people got lost and couldn't find like where they were going to, where they were living, and the government was really stressed, and they brought the old design back, because that might sound like a funny story, but actually that's a sad story, because people couldn't find where their station is, where's their home, and that's just incredible to think about that. So a word that you might want to learn is pictogramma. That's not the most common word you would use in your life, but if you're ever in Mexico City, you would of course want to go to metro, at least as a tourist, to see how it all works. And you would even understand, like when you look at people, you would understand who cannot read or write, because like they would just look the signs the other way. They would like check the pictograms. Sometimes when someone comes to visit you, and you basically send them a photo like of the of the station, and they go search by the photo, and you can, when you're in the metro, you can really see those people, and that's quite amazing. Okay, the next fact I want to tell you, and I don't know if that's true or false, you need to figure it out. The fact is that you can enter Mexico with the American visa. If you have an American tourist visa, you can enter Mexico without having a visa. If you think that's true, say true. If you think that's false, say false. Cool. So it's like 80 to 20. Actually, that was true again. And yes, you can enter Mexico if you have a US visa, if it's a tourist visa. I have taken this photo from the embassy website. So if you have a valid entry, multiple entry US visa, you can enter Mexico and stay here for 6 months without even having a Mexican visa. And you can stay as long as your US visa is valid, but you would not be able to work in Mexico. So that's real fact. And a lot of people do come to Mexico not having a Mexican visa. In fact, if you live in Kazakhstan, the closest embassy for you would be either Istanbul or Moscow. And that's not always, you don't always want to travel that far to just get a visa. So you can always enter Mexico with just having a US visa, and that's a good life hack. And that's actually how I entered Mexico. I had a US visa. I entered Mexico, and then while being here, I got my documents, my official residence permit. But anyway, I entered on another type of visa. So I've never been to a Mexican embassy, to the visa center, and that's how I got to the country, and that's how most people do it. And it's another interesting fact. It's not connected, not related to Mexico, but you still should know it. If you have the US visa, there is a website where they list every year, of course, the list changes, but there is a website where they list all the countries you can enter to just having a US visa. And most of those countries are, of course, in this part of the world, like from Kazakhstan, you would not be able to reach them that easily. But if you ever come to this part of the world, there is a big list of countries. You don't need to get their visas. You can just go and on your US visa, and I think that's really comfortable. If I'm not mistaken, in your part of the world, the countries like Albania and something else are on this list, but those are mostly countries in Latin America, of course. I think that's a useful and interesting fact for all of you. And one more thing that's a really cultural thing, and I want to tell you about it, because if you ever have some Latin American friends, not just Mexican, but Latin American in general, that would be an important information for you. When you speak to your Latin American friends, don't call US America, because that's how we say it in Russia, and that's how we say it in our countries. We say that US is America. But if you talk to Latin American, he would most likely be offended, because America is the continent and not just one country, and that's not correct to call one country with the name of the whole continent. So all people in Latin America consider themselves Americans, but they don't really consider themselves like citizens of the US. So that's an important thing. And even if you don't speak to a person from Latin America in Spanish, if you speak to them in English or in another language, you should still have this in mind, not to offend the person, because I don't know, it's like if someone would be pronouncing your country incorrectly, you would be offended. Or if someone thought that Kazakhstan is in Africa, for example, that's the same for them. So don't try to call US America in front of a Latin American. And the next fact is that no matter where you live in Mexico, okay, I will not show you a picture for a moment. The next fact, and I don't know if it's true or if it's false, you need to figure it out. And the fact is that no matter where you live in Mexico, it's always really hot. It's terribly hot everywhere you go in Mexico. If you think that's true, say true. If you think that's not the way it is, say false. Mm-hmm. And before I tell you the real story, I want you to learn two words. For hot, in Spanish, you use the word calor. And for cold, you use the word frío. So it's calor and frío. And those words are really useful, because when you go to a bathroom and wash your hands, you will not confuse where it's C and where it's F, because usually like people with other letters, they get confused. And that's a good life hack for you. You will not wash your hands with with really hot water, because now you know that C is for calor, for really hot, and F is for cold. So the real fact is that even though most of Mexico is really hot, it's not all the Mexico is hot. So I will first tell you about the part of Mexico that's really hot, and then I will tell you about other places. There are a lot of funny stories, funny pictures and memes about how hot it is in Mexico. And in maybe in most of the country, it is really, really hot. It doesn't matter if it's summer, winter, or any other season. It's really hot. But there are other places where it's not so hot. So when you go to Mexico and you expect it to be really hot, you should first check where you're going to, what is the city, to take the right clothes, not to be confused. And I will show you one more picture to show how hot it can be, so you would understand the real, I would not say the problem, but how the things are. It can be that hot that maize, the corn, actually makes popcorn while it's still growing. But the other side of reality, and those of you who said that false were correct, because the other side shows that Mexico can also be cold, and that sometimes it even snows in Mexico. And that's funny when you see cactuses covered in snow, but that's the reality. That's how it is in Mexico, and it can get cold. So this is something you should definitely have in mind when you come to Mexico. And I want to tell you my personal story. I live in Mexico City, and even though it's located in the center of the country, and anywhere around Mexico City is really hot, like you get on your car and you go 1 hour outside of the city and it's really, really hot. But in Mexico City, it's not too hot. It's actually 25 degrees all year round, because Mexico City is located in the mountains, and the altitude is from 2,400 meters to 2,600 meters. And when you are in Mexico City, you experience the same weather all year round. And actually, nights are pretty cold. In the night, it can be like plus 15, which is cold for Mexico. And then during the day, it will always be 25, no matter if it's February, March, or August. It's always 25 degrees, which I think is amazing, because you just need one set of clothes for the whole year. You don't need to I was growing, as you remember, I was growing in Karaganda, so I needed those like really warm clothes for the winter. I needed really hot clothes for the summer. And here in Mexico City, you just use the same clothes all year round, and it doesn't get cold. But then, of course, if you want to experience hot weather, if you want to go to the beach, you just go somewhere else, and then you come back to Mexico City and you enjoy your perfect weather the whole year. So that's an interesting fact, and that's the reason why a lot of Mexican tribes were always in fight for this location, for Mexico City, because it wasn't that cold, and that was easier to live here, because when it's too hot or too cold, you basically survive, and here you can actually live. So that's a really good fact. And I have a last fact for you, and that's not an easy one. So I want you to try to focus and to try to answer this question. So the fact I'm telling you, and I don't know if it's true or false, the fact I'm telling you is that Mexico is a country that is full of volcanoes, and some of those volcanoes are still active. If you think that's true, say it. If you think that's false, So most of you think that it is true, and it is true, unfortunately. Or fortunately, Mexico is actually full of volcanoes. I just want to show you the map to show you how how full it is of volcanoes. Of course, not all of them are active, but some of them are. Basically, those volcanoes that are located next to big cities, most of them are not active. Those that are in the ocean or in small islands are active, but still there are several exceptions. And there is a famous volcano. You probably see a green dot saying Mexico City. So not far away from Mexico City, you can see a volcano called Popocatépetl. That's in ancient Aztec. The volcano, the mountain that smokes, how they call it. And that's an active volcano. And I have prepared, I'm not really good with technology. I didn't know how to show you the video on the screen or in Zoom. So I have used another device. Just a second. I brought my computer. So I would be able to show you how the volcano really erupts. And before I show this to you, I can tell you about this one. This one has happened in the beginning of January of 2020. And this volcano erupts every 2-3 months. So that's not something that happens once every 100 years. That's something that happens quite often. And this is an amazing fact about Mexico for me. So let's watch the video together. It's without sound, so I will be speaking. Sometimes it throws out fire. Sometimes it just throws out smoke. But luckily, it hasn't erupted strongly. Like what you see right here, right now, is not a strong eruption. That's like a normal one. And people don't get evacuated when the eruption is this sort of. And even this one is not a strong eruption, even though it looks kind of big and you see lava falling, but that's not considered to be a strong one. And this one is not a strong one either. Actually, there hasn't been a strong one for the last 100 years. But if it happens, that's really possible that basically the whole, not just Mexico, but also the south of the US will have to close all the airports, like it happened in Iceland in 2011 or 2012. I don't remember the year, but that's the real situation we're living in. And well, not just Mexico, but also the US. And that's actually amazing to see a volcano. For me, that was like a fairy tale. And now I believe that's my reality in the country that has several active volcanoes. And I think that's quite an interesting fact about Mexico. And there is a village not far away, and they never leave the village. They always stay in the village, even when it erupts. That's not a big problem, not a big issue for them. And you can see that volcano is filmed from really close, from not too far away. That means that people are not afraid of it. And actually, Mexican people have this amazing relationship towards life and death. And you cannot really, people are not scared of death the way we are all scared of death. They understand death is a normal thing in life because this is something that's guaranteed. This is something that happens to everyone. So in Mexico, people are not afraid of death, and they also celebrate death. There is a holiday called Dia de los Muertos, the Day of the Death, of the Dead. And that's a big celebration. And I was here in Mexico in 2019 for this holiday, and that was amazing. We went to to a town where it's said where they say the celebrations of Dia de los Muertos are the best ones. So we went to the city, and we were surprised because you could go on a tour to the cemetery, and not only go to the tour, but in the cemetery they had an organized program that was a real cemetery, but they were doing a light show right on the Pantheon. A Pantheon is like a big wall with graves, and that was a big surprise for us. And actually, when you come here as a tourist, at first you're shocked, but then when you understand the history, when you understand Mexican people more, you actually start to admire this, how they see life, how they see death. So this is something actually amazing for a tourist and for a person who lives here. One more word that we want to learn is volcano. That's our famous volcano. I will show you the photo once again. And in Spanish, it is vulcano. Actually, when I was learning Spanish, that was really funny for me because the language is, I would say it's much easier for a Russian speaker than English, because there are a lot of words that come from French, and French has influenced both Russian and Spanish, and there are a lot of words. Well, some words come from Latin, some words come from French, but anyway, there are a lot of words that are similar in Russian and in Spanish. And volcano, which is vulcan in Russian, is also a really similar word. So when I'm searching for a word in Spanish, if I don't know a word, I try to use it in English, then I try to use it in Russian, and then sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. And another funny story, you probably all know about this one, but in case you don't, I will tell you this funny story about they call them enemigos, any enemies, when in one language it means something, and in another language it means something else, something really different. It's called enemigos. And there is this famous joke, and you probably know it, but I will tell it to you anyway once again, about the word embarazada or the word embarrassed. When in English you say embarrassed, it means you are like shy, you are not feeling confident, this is something that intimidates you. And in Spanish, embarazada means pregnant. And there are a lot of jokes that keep happening, and those are real situations that keep happening in Latin America and Mexico, when people who speak English come to the country and say they are embarrassed by something, and sometimes those people are not women, they are men, and for Spanish speakers it sounds like I'm pregnant, I'm embarazada. So that's one of the funny facts about how two languages work. And I'm done with facts about Mexico. I want to quickly tell you about the difference between between Spanish in Latin America and Spanish in Spain. For those of you who already speak Spanish, that would be more useful than for those of you who don't. But anyway, that's interesting information. So I have already mentioned the accent. You change your Spanish accent when you come to Latin America, that's for sure, because Spanish accent will not be seen well, and it works all the way around. When you come to Spain and you try to use your Mexican Spanish or your Argentinian Spanish, that would not considered like the right one. So you basically have to change your accents when you travel, even though I think that's my personal opinion, but for me, and I thought so before coming to Mexico, when I met my first Mexican friends in 2010, I already thought this way. I think that Mexican accent is the most beautiful accent that any other Spanish has. I personally like the accent of people from Venezuela. and Mexico. Those are the best accents for me. The worst accent is the accent from Argentina, or mostly in the north of Spain. The accent is a bit rough as well. And an interesting fact for most of you and for those who speak Spanish as well is that some words that are used in Spain in one way are not used in Latin America in the same way. In most cases, people will just not understand you. For those who lived in Spain, you know that you come to a bar and you ask for cañas de cerveza. You ask for cañas de cerveza in Mexico, people just look at you and they would not understand what this crazy person wants. But also there are cases when the same thing can mean something really different. And I will give you an example, because without an example that would be boring. Sorry if this example is a bit rough, but I will tell it to you anyway. If you're in Spain, and that's how that in my university we learned this word that was a normal word. In Spanish it sounds like coger, and it means to take. So you can take a bus, you can take like a piece of paper, you can take a book from your friend, and you use this word all the time, and it's a normal word. But when you're in Latin America, you should never, ever, ever use this word, because here it means something else. It literally means having sex with someone. So if you say, like, do you want to take it? That would mean, do you want to have sex? Or if you say, I will take a bus, that would sound like I want to have sex with the bus. It sounds funny and amazing, but a lot of foreigners who come to Latin America after learning Spanish in Spain come and they use the word coger, and everyone just laughs at them, because that's not the word you should use in Mexico. Another interesting fact is that even in Latin America, the words differ a lot, and Spanish is also different. And even if you go between countries in Latin America, there are certain words that are not used in this region and words that are not used in that region. So that's kind of funny. It's like if you were a Russian speaker from Kazakhstan and you would go to Ukraine, you would use other words, which is funny for us, and that's not the way we do it. Of course, every country has their own words, but it's not like you cannot use other ones or people will not understand you. In Latin America, that's the case. So those of you who learn Spanish, who have learned Spanish in Spain, before you go travel to Latin America, make sure you check all those dangerous words. Luckily, there are online, you can easily find them, because a lot of people fall into those situations where they use words they shouldn't have used, and it's easy to find, but make sure you check it, because I don't think that's the case for English or that's the case for Russian, but that's definitely the case for Spanish. So don't use those words. And I wanted to leave some time for questions and answers. You can ask me anything about Mexico, or about myself, or about my life in Mexico, or about Spanish language. I wanted to show you the map of Mexico quickly, and I will even have it on the screen while we do the questions and answers. So you would be able to maybe ask me something about the country itself, or if not, ask me anything. I don't know how you normally administrate questions. Maybe you can raise your hand, or maybe you can write your question to the chat, the way it's more comfortable for you.
Anna, first of all, thank you very much. Thank you for sharing this valuable information with us. We are so happy that, and we're happy. Before question and answers, let's take a group photo and make a video, if it's okay for you.
Just a second, I will.
Mm-hmm. Oh, cameras.
Thank you for everyone for switching their cameras on.
Yes.
We're just gonna, we know you're eager to
Sorry guys, can I actually used a brought a map of Mexico. I want to use it as my background. Just a second.
Great. Waiting for you.
Wow.
Ready.
Okay, so there's usually two things we do. Let's take the photo first. So everybody smile, and Anna, you're comfortable in yeah, okay, perfect. 1, 2, 3. Ta-da! Oh, this hand looks amazing. 1, 2, 3, one more, just in case. Okay, and the video is usually, if you can keep it on, up to you. But
I will change it.
Okay. So, guys, if we can ask you to again switch on your cameras, and let's try to use Mexican Spanish accent to say thank you to Anna. Does everybody know how to pronounce it? Maybe Anna can correct it before we make the video. So it's between gracias or gracias.
I think with the normal se, like the way you would say it in Russian. Gracias.
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 Mucho gracias.
Muchas gracias.
Muchas gracias.
Muchas gracias.
So, Nilay, are you ready?
Okay, yes, I am ready. Today we had Mexican Spanish with Anna, and we want to say to her,
Muchas gracias.
Gracias.
De nada.
Thank you guys. And then
Another one video, no? That's enough.
You enjoyed it.
You suggest we make another video?
Okay.
I just wanted to say Ana, mucho gracias several times.
Oh, welcome.
So now it's back to Nilay to moderate the Q&A, but guys, you can prompt any
Yes.
question.
Yeah, any question if you have.
I have one. If you don't.
Okay, let's start with you.
Anya, well, more formal. What prompted you to learn Spanish? What was the moment when you thought, wow, what a beautiful language, what a beautiful culture? Yeah, so that's my question.
That's a great question. I think that, well, it happened to me when I was 19, 20 years old, and I wasn't the most conscious person at this moment. So I wouldn't lie to you telling that that's something that moved me and made me learn Spanish. I just had no reason at all. As most people with 19, 20 years old, I just learned it because, well, I went to Spain and I had to learn Spanish to survive in Spain, because if you have been to Spain, you understand that most people will not understand you in English. They would try. They're not like French. They would really try to understand you, but their English is really bad. That's why in Spanish, for basic survival, you need. Thank you, Alexei. Nice meeting you. In Spain, you really need to learn Spanish. So that just happened to me. I cannot really explain how it happened. But then 8 years later, after I learned Spanish, I met my husband, whose Spanish is his mother tongue. My husband is not Mexican, but I want you to guess which country is my husband from. I will tell you the name of his city, and you need to guess what the country is. So the city is Montevideo. Who of you knows what's the name of the country? Oh, perfect. Yeah, it's Uruguay. Yeah, Uruguay is the right answer. So yeah, my husband is from Uruguay, but he now has a work related project in Mexico. That's why we live in Mexico. But of course, that was important. Learning Spanish, knowing Spanish was important for me when I met my husband. So I think that was a big master plan of life, like that God made me learn Spanish first and then I met my husband. But actually, I wouldn't lie to you. It just happened because it happened. I never thought about ever using Spanish in my life after university, but it happened. And now I barely use Russian and English. Actually, I'm losing my Russian, I'm losing my English. I only speak Spanish, and that's amazing. Happy to answer other questions.
Yes, I got a question. Can you hear me?
Yeah, yes.
Okay. You mentioned you kind of, how do I say it? Acquired consciousness. Yeah. How did it happen? I looked at your Insta page as well, and you wrote something about universe laws and stuff like that. I think it's very interesting. Can you tell us?
I just want to say that I actually did a course with Anna on her program on karmic management. Is that what you mean? Just to clarify.
Yeah, this one is as well, yeah.
Anna, would you mind telling us about it? Because I'm your fan on that stuff, because I think it's not related, well, it's somehow related to your life story and how you ended up in Mexico. So I think it's interesting for everyone, whether they're interested in Spanish or not.
Okay. I will make, the story is long. It can take another hour, so I will make it short. If you want a longer story, ask me, go to my Instagram page, you would be able to find my story, but I will make it quite short. It's still not clear to me how that happened, and it's still not clear to me when the conscious suddenly wakes up, but mine suddenly woke up at one moment, and it's like everything I had before in my life was well, I wouldn't say it was a dream, but it was a bit covered with fog. And then I woke up and I started seeing everything clearly. And I think this is something that happens to every person at a certain age. There are people who have it with 20. I wasn't that lucky. I had it with like 28, 27. And then I realized there are things that I can do better in my life. And I was searching for a professor. I was searching for someone who would be able to teach me. And I found a karmic management teacher. And I've been working with this person for years until she told me I'm now able to teach myself. And now I do give classes of karmic management to people in Russian. I've already had 140 students from 14 countries from 16 countries of the world. And this is something I really enjoy. I was happy to, when I knew I had to leave Kazakhstan and to go to Mexico with my husband, I was first stressed because I didn't want to leave my job, because I really enjoyed my work at the British Council. And then when I got here to Mexico, that everything just formed out perfectly. And now I have a lot of time for myself. I work from home, giving classes of karmic management in the morning for a couple of hours. And then I have the whole day for myself, for the courses I take, for self-development and stuff. So it's a really happy moment of my life. I can tell this for sure. Doesn't matter if we're still on our lockdown, because it's still going on in Mexico in some way. Anyway, I'm quite happy and quite happy with my life. And yeah, I teach it, and I also do practice it. There's a thing called the Diary of Conscious, Дневник осознанности in Russian. This is like a record of your consciousness that you keep during the day to make yourself grow faster in this in this part of your life. So I do this, and it's like a normal part of my life for me, like, I don't know, brushing teeth or drinking water. Doing the diary of conscience is my my daily routine.
And Anna, I just wanted to, I don't know if this prompt will help also. There is like the way you just, made a wish list of the characteristics that your partner should have. And that's how you ended up with your husband being from Uruguay and everything. So I just find it incredible.
Okay, I will quickly tell you about it if you want.
Because there's a lot of single people here.
Cool. So, okay, the story is, while I'll tell you the story, I'll search for a photo of my husband, because it's often much easier to speak about someone when you see the person. So let me quickly find a photo. For now, I will tell you that there was a moment when, well, my conscience. So I was married, and then my consciousness woke up, and I realized, well, I'm not with the right person. I'm not in the right story. What am I doing here? What brought me here? And I started